Welcome to In the World of Winooski. I'm Mayor Christine Lott, and on this month's episode, we're going to meet our new Winooski City Manager, Elaine Wong, and then hear more about the Winooski Centennial Celebration, which is coming up very soon on June 4th. So I'd like to introduce you all to Winooski's esteemed new city manager, Elaine Wong. Welcome.
Thanks, Mayor.
How are you today?
I am fantastic. I'm loving it in Winooski. I've been on the job for 7 days, and it's everything I could have hoped for.
We are so happy to have you. It was a very long search to fill the role. And selecting you was very exciting. We are so confident in you, and so were community members who met you at the candidate forum. I'm hoping you could first tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure, happy to do that. And I have to say, when I read your comments about the community forum's response to me, I teared up because that is so important to me. So it's great to be in a community where so many people would turn out to an event like that and care about that. I really prize that type of engagement. So speaking of which, it's related to my background because I was born to immigrant parents. My parents were born in China. Both of them then moved to Taiwan. Long story there I won't get into. And then they both moved to the U.S. for economic opportunity. So, like a lot of our residents in Winooski, they were immigrants. They had to do a lot of struggling in the beginning years, and they had a lot of community members that reached out and helped them, like our community members in Winooski, our longer standing members as well as the newer ones. So it's that sense of like hard work, struggle, value for education, like the value that being community minded provides you as a person. Those are all things that are top of mind for me when I see our community. So that sense of, I was talking earlier about how the community came out there and how I want to be out there, and I know the city council's with that, so I appreciate that about this council. Growing up, I felt like I didn't have any access to power, or I had no idea why things were the way they were. I was a very angry teenager because I just felt like I had no access. So I feel very strongly about that. When people call me up, I worked for a town before. I was in we call it town hall there. So, when I pick up the phone and if people are upset or if people are angry, that's when I calm myself down the most and listen the most carefully, because those are the people that need us the most, right? The people who kind of know how things work, obviously we're there for them too, but they don't need us the way the people who are angry are, the people who are upset are. So I'm happy to be bringing that type of, or augmenting that type of customer service in Winooski City Hall. I know a lot of our staff are already of that mindset, which is wonderful to be joining that team.
Yeah, that is really important to us. We are such a small community, and you can really get to know a lot of people, and so that level of customer service, as it were, is really important. I think also hearing about how you grew up and your backstory is really aligned. Winooski has a long history of immigrant populations coming in, of welcoming newcomers. We still have that in the fabric of the city in our current day. And so seeing your interaction at the candidate forum of being able to engage with the variety of residents who turned out for that, folks who are brand new here or who've been here for a long time is really awesome. So you've touched a little bit on what interested you in coming to Winooski. Is there anything else you want to share about what drew you to this role?
Yes, that's a great question. So, there's a few angles. The fact that the city is committed to equity, both at the council level and at the staff level, that's something I feel very strongly about. I've been living in Vermont. Probably shouldn't have touched my mic there. Been living in Vermont for the last 17 years as a BIPOC Vermonter, as a child of immigrant parents, as someone who likes to hunt and fish, as someone who likes to forage and be out in the woods. Those are all pieces that are important to me, and I want all of our community members to feel like they belong there. And being in the manager position, where you're in a position to shape programs and services with a committed council, that's super exciting to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also came through in your interview in the process. And for those who don't know, the city manager role is really the sort of the chief executive of the town. You're overseeing all of our department heads, all of our staff, and essentially taking the policy guidance that comes from myself, the mayor, and the city council, and then using that to actually implement city services, operations, and the programming that we have. And so something that I am excited to state to residents is that Elaine is there for you and somebody that you can reach out to when you don't know how something works or who you need to speak to. It's a really critical role to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for that description, because a lot of people don't know what a city manager does. And if they're doing their job right, they're probably not so much in the public eye, so that's all right. But yes, for the people who need the most help navigating City Hall, I'm happy to have the council support on that, mayor's support on that. Like, I am the chief customer service officer for the city. And the goal, though, is that at some point, maybe everybody will know who to go to, and you won't need me playing that specific role. But in the meantime, I'm absolutely there for that.
Yeah, and we, in that sort of like customer service nature, any resident can reach out to you, to any member of staff, to anyone on the council or myself, and we can always, get you connected to the right person.
Right, yes.
Are there any specific things that you're thinking about that you hope to focus on in your first year in the role?
Yes, absolutely. So equity is obviously one of them. We're fortunate to have a city that's been committed to it. There's still a long way to go because everybody's got a long way to go. And housing is clearly a challenge. There's some, and again, there's some great building blocks that we can start with. There's the Housing Trust Fund, which we're hopefully going to open up soon. The Housing Commission's been doing great policy work, advising the Planning Commission on specific things related to zoning that hopefully will encourage more housing. Yes, but that's like a perennial issue, and we want to try to keep Winooski affordable, so just trying to see what opportunities are there. And then again, that access piece, making Winooski City Hall feel like some place that's for everybody.
So important. I know you bring, decades of experience, not just in local government, but you have a really interesting background. Do you want to share a little bit about some of the job experience that you bring to the role?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks for that question. So yes, before I came into local government 6 or 7 years ago, I had like about 10 years in environmental protection related roles. So I worked on climate change issues in the U.S., in Asia, and actually I started off in Vermont. So with the climate change work, I started off in Burlington, and then worked in different communities around Vermont, and then ended up at an international organization. So that was fun. But before that, I worked for the Chittenden Solid Waste District as an outreach coordinator. I did load checks. That was my first exposure to like all the stuff that we throw away that is, at least to my eye, in perfectly good condition. So that, idea of waste as a resource is something that I think about often. And before that, I worked at a salmon hatchery, which was turned out it was the largest one in North America. So that was an important part of the fishing industry in Southeast Alaska, and that was really fun. Before that, I was at National Park Services. So there's that whole love of the outdoors coming through, which my parents instilled in me. They did a lot of camping when they were dating, and as they had family.
I can see the draw for Vermont.
Exactly.
It's so interesting to hear about your background, being able to bring not just municipal governance, but working in these other industries. I think that can help you bring some novelty or some creative thinking to the position, which is great.
Yeah, I hope so. And actually, this might sound funny, but so in the last town I worked, we did not have a wastewater treatment plant. And of course in Winooski we do. And I find that exciting because it's an opportunity for stewardship and potentially resource recovery. And the great thing is we have a team that's open to thinking about those things. We have a great leadership team and staff at Winooski that's interested in new ideas and not just like, oh, this is the way we've always done it, which is always great to see. It's always good to have that mix of like people who have been there for a long time for that institutional knowledge, who might have experience in like why we tried it and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then the new folks that might have a new way of looking at things. Having that mix is great asset for any team.
It definitely is. Well, thank you so much for joining me briefly this evening to sort of help the community get to know who you are. Is there any parting words that you want to share?
I'm happy to meet everyone, and hopefully I will see you out and about. I aim to be very accessible, so if you see me, please say hello and tell me whatever it is that's on your mind.
Well, thank you so much, Elaine. I'll let folks know that you can probably catch Elaine soon at the Saturday, June 4th Winooski Centennial Celebration, where she will be stationed along with other staff. I'll be there as well. And I would like to welcome my next guest then, Meredith Bay-Tyak, Executive Director of the Downtown Winooski Organization. They have been partnering with the City Centennial Celebration Committee to do the planning for the celebration that is coming up in recognition of Winooski's 100th birthday. The city celebrated its 100th year as an independent city on March 7th. Thank you so much. Could you join me, Meredith?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming to share about what we can expect in just over a week, right?
Yeah, so we will be out at Rotary Park, which is one of our favorite venues in the city, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., out celebrating the birthday. It is a birthday party. We will have cake. We will have music. We'll have food. We're really excited. We're also, in addition to some people from the municipal government that will be there, counselors, we'll also have kicking it off in that really meaningful way so that we can all remember where we came from, and then we can talk more about where we're going.
Yeah, that is so true. While we have been officially the city of Winooski for 100 years, the history of our area goes back much further.
It does.
Can you share a little bit about the activities or performances planned?
Yeah, we are so excited. We have food from lots of local restaurants. We have some favorites that you'll recognize, Tiny Tie, Sneakers, and then we have some new favorites. Sarome's Cafe is coming out, and then we have some local friends that don't have brick and mortar, but they serve our city in lots of great ways, like Taste of Abyssinia, and then we also have Offbeat Creamy and some other favorites that will be out. For music, again, really lots of local favorites. Karuba Webster will be out with her band. A2VT, who always draws a crowd. Classic. Everyone loves them. Our star of the Winooski High School, Abizo, will be out with a new song that was particularly written for the centennial. So we're very excited to see that, and potentially also the debut of the video that goes along with it, which is really exciting. So this is just an expanded birthday party that anyone would have, but it just happens to be for a 100-year-old city, and we're doing it up. We're really excited.
That's awesome. All ages event, fun for everybody to come on down. You can come and go throughout. It's 1 to 4
p.m. and then basically it's accessible. It's in Rotary Park. If you have accessibility needs, there is access at the bottom and the top of the park. And we also have some centennial merchandise if you haven't had a chance to get your merch on. We're really excited about that. T-shirts and hats and other items. And then we'll also have some history sprinkled in there, kids activities, things like that. And it's, yeah, really something for everyone.
Are there some other events taking place with community partners?
There are. Thank you so much for that wonderful entree. So this summer, we really are excited about this birthday party because it's going to be the kickoff of our summer events. We have the Winooski Farmers Market happening every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then we have Winooski Wednesdays, which is the free concert series in Rotary Park. And we're expanding the dates this year. So typically we do 1 a month, and we're doing 2 to 3 a month this summer, which is really exciting. And then we also have Juneteenth on June 19th in Rotary Park, and then we have French Heritage Day on June 26th. So there's a ton going on in Winooski this summer, and we're really excited just to see everybody in a safe way, to see our community and offer up these free and welcoming events.
So exciting. It sounds like there's a little bit of everything for anyone who's interested.
There is.
Are you still in need of any volunteers?
We are. I will say this about volunteering. It doesn't seem super exciting, but everyone who volunteers almost comes back or recommends their friends come back because it's such a heartwarming experience, especially if you're only doing it for 1 hour or even 30 minutes, some of the shifts. You can have a huge impact on these events. If you believe in inclusivity and welcoming and making sure that these events are welcoming for everyone of all ages, abilities, and comfort levels with the downtown, there is an invisible barrier. For some people, they feel a little bit scared about the traffic or a little bit unsure of where to go. So crossing guards and things like that are incredibly necessary to make the birthday party, all of the events that we have over the summer really welcoming and safe. So if you're willing to, give half an hour of your time and then go enjoy the event, or an hour of your time, you can go to downtownwinooski.org. There's a Summer in Winooski post, and there's a volunteer sign-up form right there. And I would highly recommend going there and just letting us know which days you're available, and then we'll be in touch.
That's really exciting. It's a great way to get involved. You can do it one-off versus long-term commitments for other types of volunteering.
Absolutely. You tell us what you want and we'll make sure that it happens. So it's not as if you're filling out this form and then you're locked into it. We're going to get in touch. We're going to make sure that we have a spot that's comfortable for you.
Getting back to the Centennial celebration,
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't share. I'm very excited that there's going to be a Centennial-themed race car down in Rotary Park.
Yeah, so I'm so sorry I skipped over that since that's something that's so important. This is really, really an interesting aspect of the event, and we would not have it if it weren't for you and your partner. So would you like to tell us more about this race car that's going to be featured at the Centennial? And again, June 4th, 1 to 4 p.m. in Rotary Park.
Sure. So my spouse will be racing in the Enduro at Thunder Road, which is in Barre, Vermont. It's a annual race that happens in August, and we have painted up the car with the logo and some Winooski onions. And so we're going to have it down in the Rotary so folks can sign it or leave messages, and we can bring some Winooski down into central Vermont.
Yeah, we're going to fill that car with amazing messages and bring the luck of Winooski to that race, and I'm sure that it will envelop that car. I don't know what the science is, but I'm sure it will work. But it's such an exciting thing. Kids and adults riding on a car. I've never done that before. I'm excited to do it.
Yeah. And are there any particular, on that note, like youth programming or things to bring the kids down to at the celebration?
Yeah, so we'll have we'll have bubbles, we'll have coloring, we'll have other small activities for kids. And again, food always brings people out. We're really excited to be featuring all of these amazing restaurants. And, the surprise of it is that they will all be serving samples. So it's all going to be open and free to the public. So if you come, you don't need to bring your wallet unless you want to buy some Centennial merch. So scratch that, bring your wallet, because you're going to want to buy Centennial merch, but all the food and drinks and other items, there'll be a lot of things that will be free, and so it's a great opportunity for people to sample maybe some cuisines that they've never tried before, and it really does, we think, showcase kind of the wide range of amazing food that's available in Winooski. And then same with the music. I think we really thought about how can we reach children, how can we reach people of all ages, so we're really excited for all families and all people to come out for the birthday party. Oh, did I mention there was going to be cake and cupcakes? That's a no-brainer.
That's so exciting. And it's not just for Winooski residents, right?
It's not.
We welcome anyone in
Yep.
the area to come on down and get to experience some of what our city has to offer.
There are so many people that love Winooski that don't live here, that they work here or they used to live here. I think once you get a taste, no pun intended, of Winooski, you really do always feel connected, which we're so proud of. And I think this event is going to show that, because I think people who are interested in the history and looking back, and then people that are interested in what's going on now, all of those types of people are going to be mingling together, and it's going to be just, I think, a really fun event. And again, a kickoff to a lot of other things we have going on this summer.
Yeah, really looking forward to all of the summer programming, and we're very happy to have downtown Winooski and our business community supporting this kind of community fun.
Yeah.
Want to give a thanks to the members of the Centennial Planning Committee.
Yes.
and all of the businesses who are participating, providing some of these samples. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close out today?
No, I just would like to reiterate what you said about the Centennial Planning Committee. You did mention it was in March 7th, and we had an entire week of programming. It got a little bit shifted because of, you don't want to hear it, but because of COVID situation. So we did kind of pull back a little bit, change things, pivot like we all have been, and then we shifted this event to the summer. So we have done already a ton of incredible programming. So the Centennial Committee definitely deserves a shout out, and there is a whole website that will be live, not just about the Centennial celebration, but about celebrating Winooski's legacy, and the website is legacy.winooskivt.gov.
That's right. There were some activities that happened earlier this year. You can access a self-guided walking tour from the historic museum down in the mill.
Yep.
There's some video on there from some previous events, so it's really worth checking out to get at that, looking back at the history of our city and also looking forward.
Yeah. And the walking tour also has an audio component, so if for some reason you don't like reading, or if there's someone that has some ability, need, there is an audio component, which we really like because it kind of reminds you of going to a museum or going to that kind of walking tour where you can just kind of look at the building and hear more about, or look at the site and hear more about kind of what happened. And when I took it, when I was looking through all of it, I learned so much. So I highly recommend it.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. Very excited to see a return to activity downtown, to be able to gather safely in nicer weather outdoors. I'm excited to be bringing this show back.
Yeah, so good to be back in studio.
Yeah, we are really looking forward to the future. Looking forward to moving forward with these events and with our new city manager, Elaine Wong. And I thank you both for coming in tonight. And with that, we can close out tonight's episode of In the World of Winooski.